Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? This is Joe Figueroa with another video in our series Anatomy of the Dance, where I break down social dancing count for count, pointing out everything the dancers do. This week's video was a long time coming, but some dances need to be studied over and over in order to really break down what was done. So it's coming out now. Here we have Fernando Sosa and Ramirez dancing in Japan. I'm assuming if you are watching this, you know who these two are. If you don't, check out my other videos on them to get some insight. One thing that is clear is that these two are both salsa dance powerhouses, artists really, in the sense that their dance expression literally creates feeling in those who watch. So if you want to feel something, here's your chance to subscribe and ring the bell, because we're starting right now. The genius of this whole dance is seeing the fantastic windows given by Fernando, and then the explosive yet stylish entrances and exits taken by Elian. It's like he offers her a challenge in every count, and she easily meets it. I'm going to start with Elian's flawless spinning technique. This is a standard right hand turn, a single, beginner material really, but look at the extent that Elian takes it to. They are dancing on one. Fernando leads a crossbody lead and allows for the preparation. Elian breaks back on one and steps toward him for 2 and 3. Next, she would normally step forward on 5 with her left toward him and begin her standard right hand turn, but instead she turned her right foot out to her right on the count of 3, preparing herself for this single full spin on one foot, her right. I refer to this as a spin because, as I see it, turns have steps and a line. Spins usually happen on one foot and happen on the spot. As she begins the spin, Elian raises her left knee and turns her left leg inward, practically to the knee. It's just for a moment during the count of 5 and puts it back on the floor on 6. Then brings her right foot together with her left on 7, which affords her the ability to bend at the knees for dramatic effect and musicality as it goes with the accent in the music. This happens so quickly, but the eye can't help but be drawn to it. This is the first example of her spinning. The second comes just a few moments later. After Fernando leads an inside turn to check, the check ends at 7. Elian preps on 1, 2, 3. Normally a forward break would happen here, to prepare for whatever is coming next. Some followers choose to do something called a New York prep, to prepare for spinning, but her choice here was to kick step. I'd never seen this before, so I'm going to call it her own recipe. Elian kicks her right foot immediately after the 7 step on the and of 7. Then retracts the kick and steps down, slightly back on 1 for what is known in dance as a ball change, transferring her weight to her right and quickly stepping her left foot forward on the count of 2. As soon as that left foot hits the floor, she pivots to her right on the count of 3, so she is facing him by 3. Now with her left leg behind her, Elian pushes off with her left to begin her spin that Fernando was leading. Once committed to the spin, Elian brings her left foot to be beside her right leg, raises her left knee just slightly and holds the position for the double spin. See what I mean? Flawless. Now let's look at what Fernando does to lead Elian so well, starting with the first spin. Regardless of how responsive to the slightest touch Elian would be, Fernando still applies the same technique he would for a beginner. Leads notice here that he brought the arms up to her eye level, creates the single spin using his entire arm, making a fairly large and clear circle over her head. He doesn't just use his fingertips or wrists to get her going. That would be lazy. His lead would work for any dancer at any level. Now this single was to end with what I have heard called a fishtail, where the lead turns to their right or left and switches hands behind the back. Fernando chose right, placed the hand to his middle, and picked it up with his right on the other side. Often leads will see this movement as if both dancers are turning at the same time, and attempt it that way, but that would be a mistake. Here's a tip for you leads. There is no such thing as simultaneous. The follow gets all their parts taken care of first, then the lead can take care of theirs. Once in the fishtail position, Fernando leads the inside turn to check. Here's what you might not notice. Cushion versus impact. A good lead would have a hand up and waiting for a follow to meet, almost like landing on a soft cushion instead of a hard surface. So the follow isn't receiving information in an impactful way. In addition, he doesn't start to spin or lead her early. No matter how fast or responsive she might be, Fernando still keeps the timing with the music. Once again, during the double, he uses his entire arm for the spins, not just his wrists. Lastly, and I'm sure Fernando would tell you the same thing, Always move your feet. Even though his steps are small, he is transferring his weight throughout the movement. It helps keep the timing and gives power for the spin in the upper body. I learned the seriousness of that from Fernando. He's given me a lot of personal guidance throughout my career. I've been a big fan for a long time. I remember the first time we had a conversation, I was sitting on the stage after his workshop in Las Vegas. I had a tank top on and my new tattoo was showing. I didn't have it the last time we saw each other. He walks up and motions to me to move the shoulder strap so he could get a better look. I did. He looked at me and said, "It's good." And I was like,
"Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god."
This next piece is very cool. I just mentioned about always moving your feet. One of the other movements I learned from Fernando was this. He does this in social dancing a lot. A simple rotation movement, but it actually has linear steps. Like both dancers are on a balance beam. What Eliane does though? Let's dive in. This is another example follows of Eliane using balance to create movement. She breaks back on 1, takes 2 progressive steps forward during 2 and 3 to meet the lead in the middle. Technically, they both do the same thing, just on opposite steps. See? Both hard break on 1, both travel to the middle on 2, and then step beyond each other on 3. There's that symmetry I'm always talking about. Once they have both stepped 3, Eliane pivots slightly on her right step, bends the knee, uses her left hand at his arm to brace herself, and extends her left leg as far back as she can take it. This happens on the count of 5 and 6. That is when the rotation is taking place. Once full circle, she steps down on 7 and back on 1 as usual. When you watch this dance in its entirety, you will see this is Eliane telling Fernando, "Bring it." From here, it is a chess match of one-upmanship. He's going to give her something amazing to do, and she's going to add wow to that amazing. It happens everywhere, and in the simplest of movements. Here, for example, this is just a crossbody lead. But look at how Eliane skips on 2 and swings her left leg back, creating a lunge kind of look in her movement. Point for Eliane. Now Fernando intended to go into his knee slide regardless of what Eliane was going to do, but Eliane lends to it with her skip step. As Fernando slides, Eliane moves down the line with no problem. Don't I always say that the line fixes everything? Point for the both of them. Fernando gets to a standing position as the crowd soaks it in. He brings Eliane in close. Point for Fernando. How does she top it? Bam! She drops into a partial split, making Fernando hold her up. Point Eliane. See what I mean? It's like this the entire dance. Check out this part coming up. Fernando gets to a left's crossover right's handhold position. This gives the lead the opportunity to lead a double inside turn to follow, since the first inside turn will bring both dancers to a regular handhold position. But Eliane does footwork here that is near blinding. Admittedly, I borrowed this footwork and taught it to my partner for a performance I did many years back. Eliane takes the normal prep steps 1, 2, 3, but she also steps 4 and 5, 6. Doing this would put her on her left, when her right would be the norm. First turn happened during that 5 and 6. She then raises her right leg up in a kind of passé position and accomplishes the second turn on the spot, essentially doing a single turn followed by a single spin. Now who knows? It may have been a fluke, pure luck, but I doubt it. I think it was her intention. Point Eliane. Fernando goes into another crossbody lead with an intended dip. Leads, look at how he places her right hand to his left side. This tells her that it's a type of dip right away. In addition, he widens his stance to prepare himself for it. Fernando knows that you always lift with your legs, so he opens his legs like a squatting position. This is ideal for any dip. Lastly, he's not going to only rely on his handhold to brace her. Even though she is petite and a professional, Fernando still uses his left leg as a support. He could practically lay a follow's body on his leg to guarantee that she won't drop to the floor. In this angle, you can see that this stance is wide enough that his shoulders and upper body stay within it. So leads, when attempting dips, you want to avoid having your shoulders beyond your toes. There is no support there. If the follow leads with their head, you could both hit the floor. Follows, look at how Eliane commits to the dip. She first gets a firm hold of Fernando, bends the knees, dropping down a bit. Her head is the last thing to go. That's important to point out. Follows, when being dipped, you never want to lead with your head. You run the risk of taking both of you down. When Eliane comes out of the dip, she loops under his arm and spins out. Look at Fernando's face. He was totally taken by surprise. Point Eliane. Really, I could go on and on, but that's enough for now. Just wanted to show you how a simple social dance between two masters can be as entertaining as any choreographed stage performance. Also, when Elian is on the floor, expect the unexpected. This content is for you to benefit from, so any feedback that you might be able to give me would be greatly appreciated. Comments, likes, and even dislikes will help me to provide you with the best content that I can. That's going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, keep dancing.